preparing live stream webinar.
We're live. We're live already.
Oh, well, would you look at that? Mitchell, thank you so much for doing this, man.
You're welcome. It's my
Awesome.
pleasure.
Guys, Mitchell is the reason that the podcast is being done like this. And your group, Digital Nomad Accelerator, produces some outstanding content every single day. How are you doing it? How do you keep up doing this every single day?
Well, man. So first of all, I'm honored that this is inspired upon on the work that I've been doing in my group. Really, the thing that makes me do all of these things is I just really love seeing or enabling other people to break down their hurdles and to achieve the things that they want to achieve in their life. And that gives me satisfaction, and that drives me every morning when I wake up. I don't even snooze anymore. I just want to wake up because I want to contribute to this group and help people. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. What I'm sure you've learned a lot. What have been like the 2 or 3 biggest things that you've learned from the guests that you've had on in your group?
Good question. So I had really a wide variety of speakers, people that were speaking about topics that I was very knowledgeable of, but also topics that I wasn't very knowledgeable of. One thing that I kind of discovered doing all of this is that sometimes for me personally, things just make a lot of sense, and I never share them because it just makes sense. But still, I figure that even though for me it makes sense, when I share some things with other people, they might have not thought about it. So it's almost selfish to keep things for yourself. It always has good value to share things with other people, because what might be logical for you might not be per se logical for them or be in their mind. So don't keep good knowledge to yourself. Try to articulate it, try to share it. And I'm sure that people somewhere in the world, somewhere in the community will find value in it, and you'll be able to help people, and you'll be able to build up a relationship with people.
It's a really beautiful thought. And it's a thought that like really can bring about a lot of change in the world, I think, because everyone knows that something. Everyone knows something that other people don't know, and if you keep it all to yourself, like you said, you're hindering the evolution of people in the world, of the society, of the civilization, hence the name of the show.
Exactly. Yeah, we should all be sharing our knowledge. We should all be helping each other out, and together we can create like synergies, and it's we're greater than just the sum of 1 + 1. Like, it equals much more if everyone just helps each other out, and that is what I love to see. Like, I want to see this knowledge sharing revolution going on and helping each other or taking each other to the next level.
I think that's the most important advent of the internet, is that we're pooling all of our thoughts together as a civilization. We're sharing all these ideas, and if you're not contributing, like you said, it's like nothing against people who aren't contributing. Like I get it. It's hard. It's scary to put yourself out there, but there's a place. There is a place for anyone to contribute.
Yep, agree. And what a lot of people don't realize is, if they have great ideas, they always want to keep them for themselves, because they think they're very selfish, and it's my idea. I shouldn't expose it until I build the perfect business and it's going to earn me a ton of money. But what I experience is, if you go out there and you expose your ideas, you expose your knowledge, people will actually start giving you more knowledge on top of that, or start helping you to improve that idea. So keeping your good idea or keeping your knowledge to yourself is something very traditional. Nowadays, you can accelerate your personal growth, your business growth so much faster if you just open your mind to sharing your knowledge, collaborating with other people, and then you'll see really great things happen.
Yeah, man. And it's a scarcity mindset. You know, there's the whole idea of scarcity versus abundance. And the idea, you know, in a nutshell, like people, if you have an abundant mentality, which is what you're talking about, then the idea is there's never enough. You know, there's never going to be too much whatever. You know, it's not like you can build, you know, it's not like one day we're going to run out of businesses for you to build, or, you know, whatever it is. But this people with a scarcity mindset think, like you said, they have to keep everything to themselves. And I think that's hindering to what we're trying to accomplish here.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, I cannot agree more. And yeah, guys, open your mind to these collaborations. Collaborate with people, and great things will happen. You will be able to generate some great synergies, and both of you, or you and the other people that are helping each other out, will achieve better results.
Yeah, and everyone benefits. I love the model of everyone benefits. Like anytime that there's, you know, I don't like competition very much in business or in life. Personally, I'm not like I can be competitive sometimes, but I'm not a very competitive person. I don't like. I like the idea of everyone wins because everyone can win. You know, like
Well,
in a lot of these cases.
so let's apply this to, for example, Facebook groups, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people want to build a Facebook group. They don't want to invite any guest speakers over because um, they want to keep the members for themselves. They want to avoid them, you know, being part of other groups. And you've got other people on the other hand, like me. I invite people over every day. I invite guests over every day. And if you compare the group growth of both, you know, types of business or Facebook group admins, the people that collaborate, they skyrocket. They grow to 2,000 members in 50 days. The people that are selfish and keep everything to themselves, they don't grow. They will get stuck at 200 people maximum, because they don't collaborate. They don't share. They don't want to share with other people. So in that sense, they cut out a lot of opportunities for themselves. And this is just an example with Facebook groups, but this can be in everything in life. But you just need to be open to collaborate, and then you'll realize that everyone in this collaboration will benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Before we continue, can you talk for a minute about yourself and how did you get started living the lifestyle that you live?
Okay, so for me personally, like, traveling has been in my DNA. I grew up in the Netherlands and Thailand and Indonesia, and when I was 17, it was time to start studying, and I started living by myself in Hong Kong. And this was the most inspiring thing for me, because I was alone in Hong Kong, and I had to figure out how to build up my life over there. I had to immerse myself in the local culture. I had to be able to communicate, connect with the people over there. And this really excited me. All this new world of opportunities that opened up for me. Of course, a lot of challenges. Like, I had to find new friends. I had to figure out how to speak the language and communicate. I had to figure out how to go around. But this was what inspired me, and I got so motivated, excited by it, about it. And I met so many great people. I learned so many things. I really felt that I was in a moment of my life where I experienced accelerated growth and accelerated happiness. And that's when I figured, you know, I'm going to travel for the rest of my life, or at least a good chunk. So after that, I lived in um 7 more countries. I'm living in Spain right now. This is the 10th country that I've been living in, and I have been designing my life to basically travel the world, because I think if you have the freedom to travel, if you have the freedom to control your own path, you will be more happy, inspired, and productive in everything that you do.
That's awesome, man. How's Spain?
Spain is epic, man. It's beautiful weather. The food is good. I'm literally 10 minutes from the beach. I cannot complain.
Where are you in Spain? You're in Barcelona, right?
Barcelona. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm going to be here for 3 months. So, guys, if anyone watching this is in Barcelona or is going to be there over the coming 3 months, do hit me up, and it would be great to grab a coffee or something.
Dude, that's so cool. Do you speak Spanish?
I spoke Spanish. I forgot it. I need to start again from scratch.
They have such a weird way of talking in Barcelona. They
in
speak
Barcelona.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
It's because I'm not an expert. I'm like the least qualified person to give a history of Barcelonian language structure, but I'll do my best. But apparently, like they had a ruler of Barcelona a long time ago, and he spoke with a lisp, like not like he was born with a lisp, and he was a very popular ruler, so that just became how they talked. They
Well,
decided they were like, you know, he was like a celebrity sort of, so they were like, oh, let's all talk like that. So now it's, you know, Barcelona.
interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I
I
won't be
mean,
able
you might
to.
you might talk to someone there who's actually from Barcelona, you know, who grew up there, and they're like, no, that's a myth. So who knows? Don't
I'm
take
go-
my word for it.
I'm
That's
going
what
to
people in Spanish
I'm going
class.
to verify this myth tonight.
Please do. Let me know. I'm curious.
I
But
will.
what do you think is going to be the future of work? Do you think more and more people are going to be like you, or do you think that there's still going to be some people working traditional 9 to 5 job?
So, if we look at where our society is going and where technology is going, I think it's inevitable that more and more people will start to transition into becoming digital nomads. Just think of your mobile phone, your laptop, Wi-Fi. These make it so easy to live as a digital nomad, to travel the world while doing a job or running your own business or to freelance. And if you look at all these co-living and co-working spaces that are popping up all around the world, like if you follow this trend, it's inevitable. You're going to start seeing more and more people that are going to do this. Also, more companies are, or slowly companies are starting to accept remote workers, and they're going even a step further where some companies are saying that they are going to be remote only, which means that it should not be a disadvantage if people are not coming into the office. They want to, rather than investing in an office space, they want to invest in bi-yearly or yearly or whatever semi-annual retreats with all the co-workers.
Yeah.
Um, then we've got platforms like Upwork, Freelancer, where it's so easy to get gigs and start earning your money while traveling the world. And then we have, of course, a lot of people that are going into online marketing, online business. It's so easy with the tools that are out there. You don't need any coding anymore to just start a website or to start a business that will enable you to generate some income, you know?
I don't know the first thing about coding, and I have like 3 websites, so it's
There you go.
pretty easy
You're
to
the
do.
you're the
Um,
testimony.
yeah. Well, I will be when I'm traveling the world forever, but yeah,
Are
man,
you
and
are you planning to?
yeah, for sure, you're the inspiration, man. People like you, but seriously, like from a business perspective, it makes more sense for a company to be remote work only. Because think about it. If you say, hey, we are remote work only, you have to work online. Now you've opened up the talent pool to the entire world. You know, you can't, like
Yeah,
companies that are doing things the traditional way are going to be at a disadvantage because they can only recruit from people who live in their local area for the most part, or they have to ask people to move. And a lot of times people
yeah,
don't want to move. And then they have to pay to
exactly.
relocate those people too. You know, like it's not going to make sense. It's made sense kind of up to this point, and I'm sure some companies will still do it, definitely. And furthermore, some people like a 9 to 5. I mean, if you like the structure and you're like, you know, you're someone who enjoys going to work every day from 9 to 5, and that's how you work best, then I'm sure that there will be 9 to 5 jobs the traditional way.
Also,
But
if you look at our generation, the millennials, if you compare us to older generations, we are much more difficult to retain within a company. Like we
yes,
statistically, we jump jobs way more than back in the days. Where back in the days, you used to get a job when you were 18, and you would retire with the same job when you're 65. And
Yeah.
What is happening right now is that we millennials, we probably had like 5 different jobs in the past 3 years because we got bored. We did an internship there. We decided to move to another company. Then we took another
Yeah.
job. Um, so if companies allow you to work remotely, they can manage to retain us much better, because rather than searching this variety in their job somewhere else, they can search variety and new challenges in traveling the world. And it's just a stimulus, it's a motivation to keep with this company, because they're giving you so much freedom. You can basically determine so many things by your own, and things that wouldn't be able to happen with a 9 to 5 job. So this is really, from an employer perspective, this is really going to be one of the tools that is going to help them to retain really good talent.
Yeah. And people say that like it's a negative thing. Like, oh, millennials just want to hop off to a different job. And like, yeah, because of the internet, you can, like we've been talking about, it's that kind of gets into, I guess, the philosophy or morality behind it. But I feel like people have this like almost religious belief that you must stick with a job, even if it sucks. Even if it's terrible and you hate it, you have to stay because it's your duty as a citizen of the earth or whatever. And I think our generation is the first to just say, like, no, we don't believe that. If we don't like it and we find a different way of doing things, we're going to do that. And that's okay. Like that's, from a moral perspective, that's okay. And I think that's a huge shift from how things used to be.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, it's a generational gap. It's what older generations think about us. But yeah, if you look at it, the generations, it's cyclical. Every whatever 100 years, this pattern repeats, and you see the same kind of differences between generations occurring, and this is just something that is happening right now again. But yeah, I wouldn't say that's a big difference, because companies need to be smart in figuring out how they can retain the current workforce, and they can do that by giving us more freedom, giving us the ability to work remotely, and being adaptable, like adaptable to the current situation, to the current needs. And you know what they say, like survival of the fittest. The companies that are best able to adapt to the current environment, to the current requirements, to the current workforce, will be the company that is going to succeed the best.
Yes, it's the classic evolution, survival of the fittest. Not even survival of the fittest, but survival of the one who is most able to adapt. And companies that are most able to adapt are going to be the ones that stick around,
Yep.
especially as we get older.
Yep. So I live in well, my HQ is in San Francisco.
Oh, cool.
I work around Silicon Valley quite a lot, and over there you see that companies are really trying to adapt to the current workforce. Like they're taking all kinds of measures to retain millennials, and they're putting a lot of research and money into figuring out what they really want and how they can best manage those millennials. So there's a trend, and inevitable there's going to be changes soon, as millennials are starting to become the primary generation in our workforce.
Have you what's the spirit or what's the thoughts going on down in Silicon Valley about that? Is it resentful or do they understand?
So there's obviously still, from the older generations, people are looking down on the millennials, like, what the fuck are these guys doing? They're job hopping, and they just they cannot understand, they cannot appreciate. But um, they somehow they understand that they're very much focused on generational theory. They understand that there's different layers of generations that don't have the same vision and perspective on the world. So they do understand it, and they are trying to to leverage that understanding to better manage the differences. So people are aware, they're accepting, and they're trying to manage it, and they're trying to manage it very actively. It's a very common discussion on the work floor, and people are joking around about it. Yeah, people are aware, and they're trying to make a difference.
Like you said before, I mean, is just as we get older, we are going to be in the majority. I think it's weird right now because, or not weird, but there's some friction because we're not. You know, we're still, I guess, a little bit of the minority, but that changes with every year. And kind of going back to what we were talking about in the beginning is the information is there. You know, the information for how to work online and how to live anywhere in the world, the information is there. And there's Facebook groups like yours and plenty where you can learn everything you need to know about how to set up a business online and travel the world. And people just need to find it. And once people do, I think it's going to be civilization changing for us.
Yep. Let me tell you even something more about this. So I believe that over the long term, even corporates will start working with freelancers more often, because corporates are just so inefficient. There is so much dead weight, and there are people with outdated skill sets, people that are just around doing nothing. And why would you invest in someone's, annual salary if they're not bringing in that much value? If instead you could spend half or even a third on a freelancer for 2 or 3 months to get the work done faster, cheaper, and better probably, yeah. So that is why I think over the long term, you will also see a reduction in full-time employees of corporates, and they'll start working with digital nomads to get their shit done, because it's more efficient. It's a more efficient model of operating.
Yes, you don't have to manage so many people. And again, like we said, you don't have to hire people from your local community anymore. A company can say, hey, let's go to Upwork and find the best freelancer. What do they want? They want $500 a month. That's nothing. They're paying, a salary to an employee who's not doing that great of a job. I mean, maybe they are. I'm sure there's some who are doing a great job, but because they don't teach a lot of this stuff in schools. The schools are still so behind. There's people like you who are putting out material that is literally cutting edge. Like the guests that you have on in your group are sharing the latest and greatest. Like you are not learning this in any school because it doesn't exist. It's from like the front lines.
Yeah, and you need to understand that the people that are running the educational system, they are from an older generation, so they're trying to install their beliefs in what we're trying to learn. So it's just not compatible with our generation, the stuff that we're learning, and the pace at which the environment is changing with technology and co-working spaces, and education is not keeping up fast enough with that.
It can't. By the time that they would approve a new curriculum at the university, everything would have changed. It takes them like roughly a year or so to get a new curriculum approved. Let's say they decided to create you could major in social media marketing, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. It would take them forever to get the curriculum approved, hire the right professors, and then by the time that you get everything going, it's out of date.
Plus, even if that would happen, even if they would be able to approve it, then I don't think that that universities would be practical enough, because you can have a social media education or you can have a digital marketing education, but the most important thing is to apply it in practice, and that is where 90% of your learning comes from. So also the way that education is structured, I don't think it's very effective at the moment. I think what's going to be the future of education, or the most effective way of education, is, I think, short-term boot camps where people do a really practical deep dive into areas that they're interested, passionate, and talented in. Let's say if you're interested in digital marketing, then do a digital marketing boot camp for 3 months or 4 months and focus on really the most important things and apply all of that in practice. Then try out another thing that you're very practical about, but at least do a few practical deep dives on things that are very much aligned to what you want to do, and what you want to contribute to the world, and what makes you happy. And I think the current educational system doesn't really set us up to develop our talents, to develop our passion. It sets us up to become standardized factory workers almost.
Or university professors,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the people who do best in school are the people who are most like a university professor,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
So, so I think we live in an exciting age where there's going to be a lot of change in everything that we're doing, the way that we work, the way that education hopefully will be changed as well. I think also there's slowly a increase in people that are being homeschooled because people come to the realization that that's potentially a better way to raise and educate their kids. We'll see. I'm excited.
I was homeschooled, so I'll
You were,
it'll be interesting to see more and more people having that growing up experience of growing up homeschooled, because it certainly shapes your world very differently. Um, yeah, I think that you're uniquely qualified to answer this next question, but how long do you think it will take for people our age to like wake up and realize what's going on? I still feel like I mean, the older generation, like people over the age of 40, no offense, I mean, there's some who are, totally on board, but so many of them, I feel like you're kind of lost. You're a lost cause in a way. Like you're going to be working a 9 to 5 job happily for the rest of your life, and that's great. You're happy, if that's what makes you happy. But people our age, who are still trying to pursue the 9 to 5 job or the traditional way of doing things, how long do you think it'll take them to realize that they don't need to do that unless they want to?
so yeah, I don't think everyone is going to be able to wake up from that, and also it has to do a lot with the society, our societal beliefs, right? Our societal beliefs are based on the older generations, and they still believe in stability, predictability. You need to get a job for 30, 40 years, be loyal to that employer, and then retire. So that is still what our society is tailored towards. Yeah. So over time, as our generation will start to become more dominant and slowly our beliefs will start to get accepted, then it's hard to change societal beliefs. It will take time for it to reach the masses, but a lot of people are waking up, and it just takes a few really passionate people to keep pushing for this, to get it adopted by society, and I think that will happen over the coming years.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're very right. And what do you think? Like, sorry, I forgot what I was going to ask. But what do you think will be like the morality of that, or not like the morality, what do you think our morals around work will be like in, let's say, 10 years, if that makes sense? Like, how do you think people will view work as a part of their lives?
Okay, I think right now, traditionally, people work to sustain their life. But if you think about the amount of hours that people put in their work, it's almost you live to work. Like investment bankers, for example, they spend tons of hours on work. Like they rarely have any free time. But on average, like a 40-hour work week, it's still a lot of time that you spend on doing your work. You basically live to do your work with this, with that set of beliefs. And I think in the future, it will be more life and work will blend. you work to live your life. You don't live to work.
Yeah.
Um, it's more about the fact that work enables you to do the things that you can do, and you design your life around the things that you want to achieve, and then work is going to be the tool to which you're going to get there. That's going to enable you to get there. So I think it will be reversing the relationship between work and life. As now I think it's you live to work, but it should be you work to live, and it's going to enable you to live that life that you want to have.
I think that's a beautiful thought in a lot of ways, you know, that, and yeah, I think things will become more efficient. So you won't have to work as long if you don't want to. Like if you're someone who says to themselves, like, I want to be a multimillionaire and have a massive company, obviously that's going to take a lot of work, you know, at least right now. And today, with today's technology, that's going to take a lot of work, no matter what, you know, even if you're using the most cutting edge technologies. But if you're someone who's like, I just want to have enough money to live my life, live wherever I want, work on the internet, you know, and travel, like you can do that, I think now pretty with not spending a whole lot of time if you're smart and you know what you're doing. And you know, that's a big if, obviously, knowing what you're doing, but it's possible, I guess is what I'm saying. So I think that we're going to see as technology gets better and better, like do you use Zapier?
I do, yes. Zapier, I have TTT, like a bunch of automation. It's perfect.
I think Zapier is like things like that are the future. You know, like for people who don't know about Zapier, it's like it's an app that basically connects all of your other apps together. So, you know, you can basically automate almost your entire business. It'll do things like, you know, it'll basically say things like, okay, so someone signed up for my newsletter. I'm going to activate the email autoresponder and send them an email, and I'm going to get that all going. And I'm also going to add their name to a Excel sheet and send that Excel sheet to my salesperson so they can call that person. And then also I'm going to, you know, do X, Y, and Z. And that just happens automatically. You don't even have to, like, I almost said that happens with a click of a button, but it doesn't, because you don't even click a button. It just happens, you know, it's a robot that knows what to do. So I think
It's
stuff like that is going to be the future.
agree. Yeah, and I mean, back in the days, we used to think very much about, you know, quantifying everything, and that has to do with Taylorism, scientific management. Everything work related had to be measured. And that is why we really got into this mentality of measuring hours. Like your output, your performance at work is almost determined by the number of hours that you put in. But it shouldn't be. It should be about the outcomes. It should be about the results that you're creating. You should work smarter, not harder, and that's going to be the future mentality, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Entirely results focused. You know, I think like we said, companies are going to see this. They're going to understand. Like they might not right now, but I think they will, because they care about results at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
I know you, Mitchell, I know you've got to go. Is there anything you want to talk about or promote before we end?
Yeah, sure. So, like I mentioned earlier in this show, I recently started a Facebook group called the Digital Nomad Accelerator, in which we kind of bring together aspiring and established digital nomads, and we try to inspire, connect, and educate everyone around the topic of digital nomads. And we want to make sure that everyone is able to overcome their barriers and realize that it's actually way easier to realize than they actually think. So it's really possible to travel the world while you're running your business. And in that group, we're helping you to achieve all of that. So guys, if you're interested in doing all of that, traveling the world, be sure to join the Facebook group. Paul is also part of it. He's a very active member, and I'm really happy to have him as part of the group. So
Thank you.
yeah, go and check it out, and hopefully see you guys there. And be sure to follow all of the amazing work that Paul's doing here with his podcast. I really, really enjoyed being here today.
Thanks, man. We'll have to do this again for sure, and we'll we'll have you on again sometime. Next time you go to a new place, you can tell us about how Spain was and how your new place is.
Cool. Let's do that. Sounds good.
Oh, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And once again, thank you so much for not only inspiring this format of doing a podcast, but like literally walking me through how to do it. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Man. Talk to you soon.
Cool, buddy. Talk soon.
Yep, definitely.